What's your favorite board game? Is it Clue, as a recent study shows Illinois' favorite board game is? Or is it Monopoly? Or is it something that nobody knows about? Now let's get your thoughts here on WMAY. It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop at 811-217-629-7970. Again, 217-629-7970. That is the phone number for Springfield's Morning News. And let's hear about it. What's your favorite board game? Of course, this report out of solitarybliss.com highlights how, states like New York and California and Florida, they like Monopoly. But in Illinois, we like Clue, which is kind of funny, for me at least personally. When Megan and I started dating back in high school, and I'd go over to her house to hang out, like after school, for instance, her little brother, who was real young at that time, now he's like 6'8" or something. Dude's stupid tall. But he used to want to play Clue so bad, and it turned into this. Megan's probably turning red and laughing at the same time on her way to work. But he used to just, every time I come over, he'd be like, Clue. So I think we only played it with him like once or twice. But obviously a great game, a game of mystery and intrigue. But that is Illinois' favorite board game. I want to hear from you now. What is your favorite board game? 217-629-7970. There was always a desire for me when I was a kid to play Mousetrap. Not necessarily for the actual gameplay, but just to set up all of the various, implements that are part of that board game. Because it was very much 3D, it wasn't just the flat board. You had all these slides and ridiculous traps and rubber bands, I think, were part of it. And it was kind of intense to put together. I think you needed like an engineering degree or something. But I was a big fan of that game, even though I don't think I actually officially played it. I would just, put it together and watch the mechanisms do what they got to do. Another one that I was a big fan of was Guess Who. I don't know why, but that was just an awesome game. The game where you've got like 3 or 4 rows of probably, 30 different pictures of people, and on each side you have to guess, well, does this person have red hair or pink hair or whatever. That was a fun game as well. But what are some of your favorite board games? And maybe they're going to be just games nobody knows about. So let's hear it. 217-629-7970. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Good morning. I've been playing since I was a kid, but Risk. I love the game of Risk. It's got the little soldiers, and you go against somebody else, and it's like a chess thing, but it's called Risk.
How long have you played Risk for in one sitting? Is it something that, because listen, my older brothers played Risk when I was a little kid. I didn't understand it at the time.
Yeah.
And it was hours and hours and hours they would play that game.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you how long. When I was younger, probably, I have no idea. It just seemed to go on forever. But I love that game, Risk. And then was it
Seinfeld that had? I think Kramer was playing with maybe Newman or something, and they didn't want to leave the game in one particular person's apartment, so they like left it in Jerry's apartment as being neutral or something like that.
Neutral territory, neutral country. They left the game at. But there's a new one out there. If you want something that's kind of fun, and I discovered if you drink a little bit, it gets a little more funner.
That's always the case.
It's called Hue. I think it's called Hue, and it's this poster you put out, and it's got little colored squares on it. And I mean, it is just a slight hue off. Red. There's a block of reds that are within a couple of hues of each other. And you as the person, you pick a color and you give clues, and everybody else tries to zero in on what color you're zeroing in on. And it gets very entertaining when you, after a couple of beverages, it's very entertaining. But still, my younger kid, I have a younger son, and he has a fiance, and they don't drink, and they still enjoy playing it with us as we have a little liquor. to make it more entertaining. But
I'll have to check that out. Hue. I'll see if I can find that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's called Hue. It's a color game though.
Gotcha.
It's very cool. Very cool.
Awesome.
But
Appreciate that.
Those are mine. Those are my two.
Right on. All right, 217-629-7970. Talking about your favorite board games. Do you remember you proposed to me with a board game? I did. Oh, that's a message from Megan. I remember that, I think. I actually created a board game similar to Life, but with trivia stuff about Megan and me, and had her, some of her longest close friends come together, and on that night we played the game, and then eventually I ended up proposing. So it just kind of shows how sappy I am, I guess. 217-629-7970. So I guess that's Megan's favorite board game, is the one that I made for her. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Well, good morning, Greg. And that is quite creative on your part. The taking the time to invest that much effort into, proposals.
Honestly, I think
sweet.
I spent less than an hour making the board game. But don't tell Megan.
Well, I think you just did if she's listening. But anyway, I would have to say my favorite board game, which is pretty much and still is the one that's the game of kings and gentlemen of leisure, much like myself, and that's chess.
As somebody who's got a last name of one of the pieces, I think it's the best piece in a game of chess. I agree with you. That game is...
Actually, the bishop is quite useful along with the rook. Not the rook, I'm sorry, the knight.
Okay, you like the knights. Well, the rooks are handy, too. You got to keep that queen in check somehow.
The knight's, more deceptive, but the bishop is it's good for setting up traps. But, that would be my... it still is my favorite, and I teach it to... whatever I can do.
I appreciate that. No, when I was in middle school, I ran for class president, and my slogan was, "Why have a pawn when you can have a bishop?" Good stuff. All right, 217-629-7970. Brian on Facebook says apples to apples. That's a good one. Also, you've got what is that? Cards Against Humanity. That's a fun one. Is that a card game or a board game though? What's your favorite board game? Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Yes, hello, Greg. Sean Gotti here. How are you?
What's up, Sean? I haven't heard you on these airwaves in a while. Good to hear from you.
I'm back in town, buddy.
Word.
Hey, so I played a game when I was a kid called Atmosphere. Not actually like spelled as atmosphere. It's ATOMSFEAR. And we wore the hell out of that game out.
Fear. Was it like a horror-themed board game? Okay.
Yep, absolutely. You had to use a VHS tape to play the game.
Yeah! Oh, I remember those.
Yeah.
Did they ever update it with like a DVD or something?
They upgraded it, but now you can find it on YouTube because somebody has a VCR, obviously. I don't. I don't even have a DVD player, so yeah, it's on YouTube now. You can still play it. I still got the game. I've been dying to play it here lately, but
that's
can't
funny.
seem to get anybody interested. It's not on a phone, so they're not interested in playing.
Exactly right. It's not Farmville. It's such a 2008 reference. Right on, Sean. I appreciate you calling in, and welcome back to Springfield. I thought you escaped this place.
Yeah, well, I'm working on re-escaping, so we'll see.
Right on. I appreciate that. All right. Good stuff. 217-629-7970 is the phone number. Your favorite board game. That's what we're talking about, as Illinois' favorite board game, according to solitairebliss.com, is Clue. What about Chutes and Ladders? What about the game of Life? What about Operation? That was an awesome game. But is that a board game? I don't know. You've also got other games like what is it? Twister, where you get into you stretch into a pretzel and whatnot. So what's your favorite board game? Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Morning, Greg. Hey, me and my boys' favorite board game is Settlers of Catan and Ticket to Ride.
What were they again? Tickets to Ride and what?
Settlers of Catan.
Settlers of Catan what is that?
It is, be honest, it's an awesome game. You lay down settlements on a hex grid board that is different every time because you literally physically lay out the tiles for it.
Interesting.
And it's the first to reach 10 points, and like a settlement is 1, a city is 2 points. and you make roads to go out and expand your area.
Nice.
And they also make a Star Trek version of it. So, I mean, that makes it even better. But Ticket to Ride, I mean, that is basically you have a map of like the United States and the southern part of Canada, and then you get tickets, which says go to, Los Angeles to Miami. And so there's all these already pre-made track layouts done, and you have to play certain colored cards to lay track down to connect your actual ticket.
I got to ask you, if you have a game night, are you the kind of guy who shows up with a game nobody's heard of and has to spend 2 hours explaining the rules?
Well, I go by what my dad always said. He said, Kip, keep it simple, stupid.
Yes, there you go.
And
that's good.
I mean, so I try to bring something different, but yet I try to bring something that I know everyone will actually like and understand. So
and it has to be
that
fun
you don't
too,
have,
right?
It's like, oh, what's this game? Risk.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're not going to do that. We don't got 8 hours.
We've had some game nights, and it's been a while. Hopefully we can have another game night with some close friends soon. Of course, COVID kind of screwed all that up, but we've had game nights in the past where it was just that. People would show up with like Pictionary or, some game that everybody knew and would just be really easy and quick to play. And then there would be a couple that would bring some of the most intense board games.
There's one that a buddy of mine brought. It's the Exploding Kittens and the Search for the Golden Carrot, and it's a card game. And I was just like, what the heck is this game? We never actually got to play it.
Yeah, it was just explaining it the whole time. That's
the stupid, crazy names that they come out with.
I love it. It's good stuff. Hey, I appreciate the call. Got to take one more before a break. What's your favorite board game? Good morning. You're on WMAY. Oh, and that's it. I guess that's a sign because I'm late for a break at 8:23 now from Culver's West on Wabash.
Butterburgers and fresh frozen custard, handcrafted for you daily.